Getting into Remix can be pretty daunting sometimes, since Ultra has such a large roster of 44 characters, and almost none of them are playing exactly how they play in other games. And I think that makes gief a phenomenal beginner pick, because he pretty much is playing like he plays in other games. He's still the big slow grappler guy, but he has a lot of remixified tools that make him very powerful despite this. His walk speed isn't phenomenal, and his basic jump also isn't phenomenal, but he makes up for both of these with one of the best forward dashes in the game. Geef's forward dash goes super far and super fast, and just like every dash in Remix, you can cancel it into buttons, crouches, jumps, whatever you feel like. His normals also back up his lower than average mobility, ignoring his dash. His jabs are phenomenal, with a ton of range on them. Hit confirm like 7 of these into an SPD combo still. And like they're just the range on them and speed really makes them just pestering, annoying pokes. His stand light kick is not the button you would expect it to be if you're coming from Ultra Geef. In Ultra, this button was like Geef's absolute best normal. It had a ton of range and canceled into Green Hand. But in this game, it doesn't really have that same range buff compared to his other normals, and just kind of falls to the wayside. His crouch light kick, however, is a phenomenal low starter. It has great speed, hits low, and just like jabs, you can pretty easily combo it into an SPD. Stand Medium Punch and Crouch Medium Punch are also two really important buttons for Gief. Stand Medium Punch is one of the fastest mediums in the game, and tied for Gief's fastest normal with his Stand Jab. It's also got a ton of horizontal range, and unlike Stand Jab, well, not unlike, because Stand Jab is also very plus, but just like Stand Jab, it's extremely plus. You can actually link a couple of these together on hit, like that. Crouch Medium Punch is an absolute tower of an anti-air. It reaches super high, it's super active, it's just a phenomenal button. On hit, it causes this like float effect, which allows you to get full combos off of the juggle. You can get more than that too. It will cause this float on hit, but also if it trades. So generally speaking, this is one of the absolute best anti-air buttons in the game, because whether it wins or not, you'll get a combo. His medium kicks aren't really anything to write home about. They're on the slower side for pokes, and Gief already isn't really trying to poke at you that much, so they're not really worth talking about. His heavy punches, however, are both phenomenal. Stand and crouch heavy punch both have a hit of super armor during their entire duration. This means that they will just blow through any normal the opponent presses that isn't a heavy or an armor breaker. Stand Heavy Punch notably knocks down. You can get a juggle off of this pretty easily, and Stand Heavy Punch is a pretty important part of these more damaging combos. Crouch Heavy Punch doesn't knock down, and therefore it acts more like a really strong buffer into those really damaging combos. Off the right starter, Gief can do phenomenal damage. His most important heavy, though, and probably his most important button, is Stand Heavy Kick. This is one of the longest range normals in Remix, partially because the hitbox is massive, but also because Gief takes a huge step forward before doing it. A lot of Gief's neutral is going to be dash and stand heavy kick. They'll want to press buttons preemptively to catch your dash, so instead, smack them with stand heavy kick. This is also special cancel, as is every normal in Remix, so you can pretty easily just get into a full combo off of this button for great damage off of one of the very few buttons in Remix that can hit from round start. Notable for stand heavy kick, but also just for every button in general, is that a system mechanic of Remix and grapplers is that when you cancel into a command grab on block, it will not come out. So while canceling into running bear grab is a full combo on hit, it will never come out on block. So this is a completely safe single button hit confirm that you never have to worry about hit confirming. It'll do it for you. Gief's sweep is also phenomenal. It's got a ton of range and is really, really fast and safe for a sweep. It's really, really good for Gief's footsies, and it's similarly really good out of a dash. Because just like stand heavy kick, it's got a ton of range. It causes this really nice hard knockdown so you can get in and run Oki. Phenomenal button. Gief's air normals are also really amazing. Jump Light Punch and Jump Light Kick are neither really things to write home about. Jump Light Punch is kind of a decent air-to-air. Jump Light Kick does have one feature that is pretty cute, which is that it's actually a really, really nice cross-up. It will pretty much always hit cross-up when timed right. Gief has higher damage cross-up options, but this is notable because the low hit stun and block stun makes it easier to go into a tick grab. Jump Medium Punch is not super notable. It's got a decent hitbox for air-to-airs, but it's a little on the slow side, so it's hard to use it as a rising air-to-air in the same way you can use Jump Jab. Jump Medium Kick is really cute and has a lot of really cool properties. It hits really deep like you would want Gief's Jump Medium Kick to, but it's also got this weird effect to it that alters Gief's jump arc. Normally, Gief's jump looks like this. It's pretty high. But if I press Jump Medium Kick as I'm rising, he barely even goes like half the height he normally goes. You can use this for some really cute, cheeky SPDs and grappler jumps from like half screen, where it's a lot harder to anti-air you, not only because you have an active hitbox out, but because you land so much faster. It basically works like a pseudo short hop. This also hits standing opponents and can cancel into his air specials, which is something I'll get into shortly. So you can use it for some cute fuzzy overhead setups. If I could hit him. Generally, though, this isn't like a huge part of Gief's mix-up, but it is something cute to know. Jump Heavy Punch and Jump Heavy Kick are pretty standard, like jump heavies. They do a ton of damage, and you can get decent combos off of them, but you aren't going to be doing them a lot. Generally, the jump in you're going to be doing the absolute most is Jump Down Heavy Punch, Body Splash. Gief's Body Splash is so good. Just like always, it's a great cross-up, but also in Remix, it stays active for the entire jump. It's really hard to consistently anti-air it, and it's really hard to tell what side you're going to hit on. A lot of times, this is what you're going to do after any good knockdown, is go for a Body Splash left-right. And it can be really hard for your opponent to tell where you're going to land. Body Splash also has very little landing recovery, so it's possible to just naturally safe jump alpha counters, which is extremely powerful since alpha counter on Wake Up is generally your option to beat left-rights. Headbutts are also still in this game. They work quite a bit differently than normal. Generally, headbutts exist to cause a ton of stun, but since Remix doesn't have stun, they don't really exist for this. Instead, medium headbutt is just a decent fast rising air-to-air, and heavy headbutt causes a cute little ground bounce, which is pretty neat for some higher damage combos. I think the main place you can use this in is after an EX launch, but generally you don't go for the headbutt combos all that often. Gief's specials are pretty straightforward, and they all do just about what you would expect them to do. SPD is kind of the most iconic. Gief's SPD is, as always, a really fast command grab that does good damage and has good range. Light, specifically, is very, very fast. Medium and heavy have a decent bit more startup, but they trade this in for more damage. EX is kind of a best of both worlds, being super fast and having a ton of range, while also doing the most damage, or tied for the most damage with heavy. Unlike the other ones, though, EX is also completely strike invuln, so it works as a reversal. Any SPD can cancel into 720, which is not a 720 in this game, it's just 363 punches, which gives you great damage with meter. It's an extremely easy combo to do, and generally speaking, if you have 2 bars, you might as well do it. Gief's other grab is Running Bear Grab. Running Bear Grab, like always, exists kind of like a neutral gimmick. It's really reactable, and if it gets jumped, you get punished every time. And a full jump in punish in Remix can mean the entire round, either because the character can TOD, or because the character starts a combo there that sets up a kill situation afterwards. So generally, I highly recommend against using this in neutral. Instead, Running Bear Grab exists as a combo tool. While you can combo off of SPD, it's really difficult. And Running Bear Grab, in comparison, just causes this really nice launch that you can basically get whatever juggle you want. Generally speaking, though, that combo I just did is the B&B. and what you'll do almost every time. Running bear grab is what you'll be buffering into off of a lot of punishes and a lot of hit confirms. Though as you just saw, it does have one caveat, which is that at an absolute tip range, it will not reach. When canceled into, gief doesn't do the run at all, so it has a lot more limited range. You can solve this issue by comboing into SPD instead, which will always reach even at your max range pokes. EX running bear grab comes with some super armor, which can go through buttons and projectiles, but with the amount of armor breakers there are in Remix, and the fact that this is still just a grab, it's not really anything to write home about, and I still really recommend against doing it in neutral. The risk and reward are not really well balanced for it. gief has one more grab, though it's not very notable, and it's Backbreaker. This causes a side swap, and is also gief's most damaging grab meterlessly on its own. It doesn't really have the greatest range, but it does have an easier input than SPD, and it doesn't have as much of the risk as running bear grab. This grab, in the grand scheme of things, though, isn't great. If you want just a grab, SPD is going to be better. Even though the input is a little more complicated, it has a ton more range, and generally speaking, gives a much better knockdown. Plus, if you have 2 bars, you can really easily super cancel it into your super. Or if you have the 1-frame links, you can link into it. You can link after it. I won't hit them, but generally you can link stand medium punch there. Because of that, this doesn't really work as like a go-to easy grab option. And while it does do the most damage on its own, running bear grab gives you a full combo for pretty easy damage, and it's way higher. So Backbreaker doesn't really exist in any like strong context. gief has 3 strike specials to match with his 3 grab specials, and I'll start with the weakest of the 3, which is Lariat. Lariat is DP punch in Remix instead of being the usual 3 punch input, and it works sort of like a DP. It's got invuln and has a pretty okay anti-air hitbox, but it's a lot more prone to trading. And as a DP, it's a lot easier to crouch than most DPs. It's pretty easy to make Lariat whiff and go for a full punish. Still, you can use it sort of like a DP sometimes, if you wanna. Heavy exists more as a combo tool, and I've done a couple of juggles with it already, but it just does great damage and leads to a pretty easy juggle into green hand. EX Lariat is interesting and really worth talking about. It's kind of his main anti-fireball tool. EX Lariat sends him flying forward like this. You can get a short little juggle afterwards, or you can just take the hard knockdown from EX Lariat. This has full projectile invuln for its entire duration, frame 1 to the very last frame, so this will blow through any projectiles. It can also be charge cancelled on block, which makes for a pretty interesting way to approach and get some plus frames. See how it kind of vacuums there? You can go for some mix-ups there. However, this has one massive weakness in that it is hard programmed to whiff on all crouchers. If the opponent sees you swinging with EX Lariat in neutral quite a lot, they will just crouch, and you can't CC it on whiff, so that's a full punish every time. It's really good when used in moderation. Just be very careful, because you could lose the whole round. I mentioned it earlier, and you've seen it a couple of times now, but Green Hand is gief's other special. He also has an air version of Green Hand now. Green Hand mostly is unchanged from Ultra. It still mostly exists as an anti-zoning tool, deleting fireballs, and ending the occasional hit confirm. Just like Ultra, you only really want to end in light, since the other 2 versions are very unsafe on hit and will lead to full punishes. All versions are unsafe on block, but light can be a little bit harder to punish since it's a little more spaced out. These also get a really nice extra tool to them, which is the main thing you'll be doing with them, which is that they are gief's best juggle enders. I got SPD there on accident. What in the world? There it is. They give you this really, really nice soft knockdown right in front of gief, where you can easily chase rolls, beat wake up DPs, mix between strike throw. It's a great knockdown. EX has a pretty interesting function when used as a juggle ender as well. which is that it causes a restand right next to gief rather than a knockdown. You can go into SPD from here, or you can try and strike throw them, or you can just backdash. This can also be CC to continue some combos onto the ground, which is really cute. Air Green Hand is a lot more of a niche tool. It mostly just exists to do this. Meterlessly, this isn't super rewarding and not something you'll be doing very often. But with an EX, you can actually get a combo here, since it causes this little launch. EX Green Hand in the air, and any Green Hand in the air, I should say, also still do delete projectiles, so there is some use against, like, Ryu or Seth, where their anti-air is a projectile, and you can delete their anti-air with it. But generally, Air Green Hand is really niche, and you won't see it very often. That leaves just his supers. Gief has 3, and 1 is pretty useless, so we'll get to that one first. It's quarter circle forward, 3 kicks. Super running bear grab. It's a lot faster than running bear grab regularly is, and unlike running bear grab, it's completely fully invuln. So this will go through any button, it'll go through any projectile, it'll go through anything. This also has a pretty unique... Hold on. No, it doesn't. Generally, this super isn't worth using. You can combo into it, it does okay damage, there's not much of a reason to. His other 2 supers clear it out of the water, one of which being his 720 grab super, which is just 360 punch, 363 punches. This does a ton of damage, is great to just sort of tack on at the end of most combos, and like I said earlier, you can combo it off of an SPD as a super cancel. If you have 2 bars, there's really no reason not to do this, and with 2 bars, it's your most damaging combo tool as well. Obviously, you can't combo into it from juggles, but because of the EX Green Hand restand, you can, for 3 bars, combo into it. Like that. So for 3 bars, you can do quite a bit of damage from a juggle. His third super is probably his overall best one, at least in terms of neutral, and it's Siberian Blizzard. This is just a 360 in the air now for 3 punches, so it's very easy to Tiger Knee, unlike Ultra. And also unlike Ultra, Gief is entirely, you can steer him wherever you want. If the opponent is in the air at all, almost no matter where they are on screen, this will grab them. It is one of the most consistent anti-airs in the game. It's pretty much guaranteed to work. It doesn't do a ton of damage, and 2 bars can be a bit of an investment, but if you want to just completely shut down your opponent's air approach, Siberian Blizzard will do it every time. That pretty much covers every button and move and normal. I think Gief is a phenomenal beginner's pick, and I really am glad to get a 101 of him made. If you're coming into Remix and you want to play someone on the grappler side, you like the command grab characters, and you want to play someone a little more straightforward than, say, Honda or Hugo, who are much more complicated grapplers, I think Gief is a phenomenal pick. He's very strong at basically any level of play. At a really beginner level, you can get away with spamming body splash and just spinning the stick with SPD and mashing stand jab and stand medium punch. And at a higher level, his really high damage, really easy access to strong resets and hard knockdowns, and generally overall fast movement keeps him super relevant. I think he is a phenomenal pick for anyone looking to get into Remix.